In this video, we're going to go through a three-dimensional extrude. This takes a two-dimensional sketch and extrudes it perpendicular to the direction of the sketch. There are a few options. Like we've been doing in the last video, we can start with a sketch. So I'm going to select my front plane and sketch. I have my sketch view selected already. And I'm just going to start with this shape. Now that I have my sketch, I can rename it if I want. Just make it easier to identify later. Can't have a space in there. I can select my sketch and hit extrude or hit extrude and then select my sketch. It doesn't matter. And this is how I extrude. I can change the direction. It's coming off of that front plane, but I can change the direction using this arrow here or the arrow up here. And I can change the blind depth up there. And I'll go through the depth feature a little more later. But now I have my extrude, and you can see that my sketch is shown independently in the model tree, which isn't a big deal when you only have one extrude, but when your part is a little more complex, this can get really messy, really hard to follow, and you really want to keep it a little more clean. So your other option is to start with extrude, and then I can select my surface, or I can select a plane over here. Another thing I can do is I can select this plane first and hit extrude in this menu right here. Select my sketch view, and I'm going to add a circle. So now you can see I have my extrude 2, but the sketch for this extrude is not showing up in the model tree. If I want to edit it, I have to hit this drop down arrow here. I can click on section 1 and hit edit definition. And this is how I can edit my sketch. If I want to edit the extrude feature itself, I can click on the extrude and hit edit definition, and it will take me back up to this menu. In SolidWorks, extruding and cutting are two different features, but in Creo, they are combined. So if I want to cut on this plane, I'm still going to hit my extrude feature, sketch view, and I'm going to make a square. Now, as you can see, it's still extruding, but if I hit remove material, it will remove the material instead of adding it. Right now, I'm removing material in this upward direction, so it's not doing anything, but if I flip that arrow here, or I can flip that arrow here, it will remove the material within the sketch. Now you can kind of see right here, there's another arrow, and this is pointing towards the inside of my sketch. If I flip this arrow, it will remove the material outside of my sketch. And I can also change that up here. But right now I want to remove the material inside my sketch. Typically you will be removing material inside your sketch. And I'm going to make that a depth of 25. So now I want to talk about some of the features you can do with depths. Let me come over here. And I want to remove the material. So I'm going to click this arrow, make sure remove material is selected. So up here, I can do a lot of different things with my depth. I can make it a variable depth, a blind depth, and it will go 20 units in, that's what it will cut out. I can also select it to be symmetric, but since there's nothing on this side of the surface, it's only doing half of it, so I'm going to keep it a variable. I can also, let me get back in there. I can do through all, and it will go through every surface defined in the sketch so far. Or I can do to a reference. So I can choose this reference, and it will only cut it out of this plane, or sorry, of this extrude here. Or I can choose this is my reference and it'll go through here as well. And so on. You can see how it goes through different references. I want to show you some other options as well. I have the sketch drawn on this surface right here. If I want it to do one thing on one side and another on another side, I can use my options here. So side 1 is variable and it's going 25 units in this direction. But maybe I want that to go all the way to this surface. And on the other side, I don't want it to go to a surface. I want it to go a set depth. So we'll say 50 units, and it will only go 50 units into that feature. One last thing I want to discuss is how to use the mouse to zoom and pan. This is something that I've been doing all along, but I haven't explicitly said. So I can scroll to zoom. I can hold the middle mouse button and drag to rotate to change the view that I'm looking at. And if I hold the middle mouse button and the shift key and I drag, this will pan, this will move the part around my screen.